I don't even know where to start. This week has been really, really hard. On Monday night, I got up from bed to go to the bathroom, and I was bleeding really, really bad. So I texted one of my really good friends here, and then I called my mom. It was about 9:50 p.m. And at first in my head I was like, okay, there's no need to panic, just stay calm. We need to figure out what's going on. And so my mom answered the phone, and it was like, as soon as I uttered the words, "Mom, I'm bleeding really bad," it was like everything just clicked in my head. It was like, okay, this is actually happening. And I lost it. I was hysterical. So she asked me a couple questions. They live about 3 hours away, so she was trying to decide if she needed to get in the car and come to me. And I said, no, we need to figure out what's happening first. Because I've read and I've heard that, some bleeding is normal and it's not the end of the world. But it wasn't just spotting. It was a lot more than that. I could feel it and I could see it. So my mom said, okay, you need to call your doctor, and see what they say. See if you need to go to the ER. So I actually, as soon as I got off the phone with my mom, I called my friend, and she actually just recently went through a miscarriage. And so I could tell that she was crying, and she asked me a few questions and said if I needed anything that she'd do whatever she needed to help me. She asked if I was alone, and I said yes, because Jesse was actually sick on Monday. He came home from work early, and so and we had Eloise, so somebody had to stay home with her. So I called my OB as soon as I got off the phone with her, and she wasn't on call that night. It was another doctor, but she said that basically his spotting is normal, having some bleeding is normal, but if I was concerned about it, that I should go to the ER. And I said, well, it's not just spotting. I'm sitting here and it's still coming. I can feel it. And she said, okay, then you need to go to the ER. So I called my friend back and I said, are you sure you would take me? And she said, absolutely. She lives about 15 to 18 minutes away. So I sat there for a while, and then and Jesse had come in the middle of my phone call with her because he heard me. Apparently I was very loud. And I could tell that he was even struggling to stand. He was just really not feeling well. And so, so he went to bed because I told him that Laura was going to take me to the ER, and then he could be there with Eloise in case she woke up, because she still wakes up once in the middle of the night to get from her bed into our bed. So I threw some shoes on. I was like in my lounge clothes. I went, my friend got there, we went to the ER. Everybody was super super great. Amidst all of this COVID-19 junk, there were some extra questions that we had to ask, that we were asked, but everybody was super friendly, very professional, very sympathetic with what was going on. So we get there, and the whole time that I had walked from the car to the hospital bed, and they check your weight and your blood pressure and all that stuff, I could tell that I hadn't bled anymore. And so I was starting, even though I was still panicking, I was like, okay, well then maybe it wasn't as much as I thought it was, it's gonna be okay. So we get into the hospital, the room in the ER, and I sat on the bed, and they started asking me some questions, the nurse did, and they were going to start off by doing an ultrasound, and before they did the ultrasound, while the nurse was asking me questions, it just started coming and coming and coming, and I lost it, because I thought that maybe that was it, maybe that was all that I was going to bleed. And so I was absolutely hysterical. So my friend was there, and she held my hand, and she cried with me, and she said, we don't know anything, don't panic, it's gonna be okay, we're gonna have an ultrasound, and we're gonna see what's going on. And I said, yeah, but there's just so much, there's so much, it's still coming. So I did the ultrasound, and I was just kind of laying back, and I had my eyes closed because I still had tears streaming down my face. And all of a sudden I felt my friend start to squeeze my hand. It was pulsing and pulsing and pulsing, and the doctor said, there's your baby. And I opened my eyes and I looked, and there was the baby, and the baby was moving, and we got a heart check, and it was 164, so it was very strong, very good. And so then I'm hysterical again, because I thought for sure, there is no way, with as much as I'm bleeding. And so the baby was still there and healthy, and the doctor said, yeah, but you're bleeding so much. He said, we've got to figure out what's causing this. So they ran a few tests. He wanted to check me to see what he could see and check my cervix. So he needed to clean a lot of the blood out so he could see, and that was quite painful. But he said my cervix is closed, and that was a really good sign. That's what's keeping the baby safe at that point. And so after that was all finished, then they took 4 vials of blood, and they ran some blood work, and then they sent me upstairs, and I had a vaginal ultrasound, just to check and see what they could see that way. Again, we were able to see the baby moving, and we got to see the heartbeat was 152 at that point, which is still really good and strong. So we get back downstairs, and we waited, and so we got to the hospital about 10:30 p.m. and we waited quite a while, I'd say 15-20 minutes for the results to come back, but everybody was, like I said, super nice. They brought me warm blankets, they let me adjust the temperature in my room because I was really cold. I was shaking. I think my body was in shock. I think it was almost like an anxiety or a panic attack, where my whole body was just shaking, but the warmth really helped calm me down and help my body not shake as hard. And so the doctor, it was actually a different doctor that came in. because the previous doctor was finished with his shift. So he came in, he said that we have the results from your vaginal ultrasound. And he drew me a little picture on the marker board to show me so that I could understand. And basically what he said was I have what's called a subchorionic hematoma. And he said it's outside of the sac, which is what's keeping the baby safe. And they often call it a threatened miscarriage because oftentimes it ends in a miscarriage. He said there's nothing that we can do. There's no treatment. There's no medication that I can go on. There's nothing. It's just waiting it out. And he said, unfortunately, he said mine is rather large. Mine is 7 centimeters, which is much larger than normal. So he said that's not necessarily good news. He said, however, you were able to see the baby, and the baby's currently doing good. So he said, just pray for a miracle. Like I said, everybody was super great. Like, he just stayed in there with me and let me cry. Asked me if I had any questions, and was just there. I just feel like with everything going on, I'm sure he had other patients in the ER at that time, and he wasn't rushed. Like, he didn't tell me the news and then be like, okay, nurse, take care of it, bye. Like, he just sat there and he put his hand on my leg, and I was just really impressed with how professional and sympathetic everybody was. And I don't think I could have made it through without my friend being there for me, since Jessie wasn't able to be there and I don't have any family nearby. So I was so grateful that she sacrificed her sleep and time, because she has 3 kids. And so that really meant a lot to me. So got home at about 1:15 in the morning, tried to get some sleep. Didn't sleep very well. I called my mom when I got home, told her everything that was happening, because she was waiting to hear what was going on. So tried to get some sleep, didn't get much sleep that night. Just kept tossing and turning, and I couldn't get comfortable. I was in quite a bit of pain. So I got up, we had some breakfast. Jessie didn't go into work. My sister came, she left at like 7 in the morning, so she got to my house around 10, a little before, just to help and be support for me. So that was wonderful. Called my OB, and they originally scheduled me an appointment for that day at 3 p.m. but then called me back a couple hours later and said, we just had a cancellation, would you want to come in at 1? And I was like, yes, of course. So my sister was there with Eloise, and she was so amazing. Went in to see my OB, and they did just another run through of everything that happened. She wanted to hear, even though they sent all of the stuff to her from the emergency room, so she had all of the paperwork and all of the tests and stuff to see what I had done. And so told her everything that happened, and then she said the ER doctor was correct. She was like, there's nothing that we can do. and she said there's no medication that you can be on. There's nothing will fix this. It's just gonna have to play out, and only time will tell. So she said from here on out, I'll be considered a high-risk pregnancy, and I'll have appointments every week until further notice. It could be through the end, it could be just a few more weeks, but she said for now it'll just be every week. She went ahead and used the Doppler and checked for baby's heart tones again, and it took a while to find, and she was so reassuring. She kept on saying, don't worry, give me time, sometimes it's hard to find it, and it was fine. I wasn't in a rush, I had nowhere to be. So I'd say maybe 10 minutes of waiting. She finally found it, and it was a strong 154, and then by the time we were done listening, it was up to like 159. So she was very, very happy with how baby's heart tones were, and I could just feel her relief that she found it, and she was wonderful. I asked quite a few questions, and I just wanted to know what the percentage rate was, and she said because of the varying sizes of subchorionic hematomas, there's really no percentages that we can go by because they all vary in size. And so she said in her personal experience, from the amount of times that she's seen it, she said that she's seen one larger than mine that was 10 centimeters, and she said that's very abnormal. She said that one ended up going away over time, dissipating, and the baby is healthy and strong and thriving and doing great now. And she said there was a 3 centimeter one that ended up growing and resulting in miscarriage. So she said that was just, you just don't know. So she said all you can do is pray that it will slowly start to shrink and dissipate, and you'll stop bleeding, and that will give baby room, and everything will be okay. She was wonderful. Again, so sympathetic. I love my OB. She said that, and let me just say, that's really, like, moving to a new area. I've already had one child, and I had a great experience back at the old hospital that we went to. So that was a big fear of mine, was finding somebody that I could trust and that would respect my wishes and hear me out and answer my questions, because there are a lot of doctors that are really set in their ways, and that makes it really hard when you just don't know how they're going to be. So I did a lot of looking, a lot of asking from friends, and my chiropractor also recommended her, and she's wonderful. But so she said, right now your peace of mind is what's most important. So she said, obviously we're going to do your next appointment next Tuesday, but she said if you can't make it that long and you need to come in before then, she said, do it. She said, just call me. She said, I don't even care if you come in every day to just check baby's heart tones, just to make sure that everything's okay. She said, I'll do that. I will check the baby's heart tone every day if you need to. She also told me that I will be on a minimum of 48-hour bed rest, and then after that she still doesn't want me lifting anything, so I can't pick up Eloise anymore. She said definitely don't pick up laundry because that gets really heavy. So it's been really tough. I've been cramping a lot. So that was my appointment. She said, the other thing that she said was that we should know what the outcome will be within a couple of weeks. She said typically there's a really good indicator of what's going to happen within a couple of weeks from starting the bleed. And so she said my next appointment will be just checking heart tones, seeing how I'm feeling, how I'm doing, and then the appointment after that will be another ultrasound to check and see how large the hematoma is, if it has grown, if it has shrunk, if it's still the same size, just what's going on. And she said from that we should have a pretty good indicator as to which direction this is going to go. So again, she was just like, just pray that it goes away. So yeah, I've been cramping. I've been very uncomfortable. It hurts a lot. Bedrest sucks. I didn't realize how terrible it would be to sit on the couch or in bed all day long. I'm a doer. I like to go. There's a lot to be done around the house, cooking and cleaning and laundry and playing with Eloise and just all of that. And I feel guilty because my sister's doing absolutely everything, and I feel bad because I'm not giving Eloise as much attention because I'm really tender. Like, even just bumping my stomach or putting too much pressure on it, it really, really sends a sharp pain and really hurts. So that, I made the mistake. I thought that it would be okay to go and run some errands with my sister, and she's been pretty good about, like, no, you're on bed rest. And I said, I won't get out of the car, I'll just drive. And she was like, okay, well, you'd be sitting, so that's okay. So we went out and we ran some errands, and we were only gone for like maybe an hour and 20 minutes or so. Again, I didn't get out of the car. Like, we even filled up with gas, and she got out and did that. And I felt so sick afterwards. Like, I did not feel good. And the best way I can describe it is, like, other than just the cramping, like, when you put a tampon in wrong and you sit down, you can kind of feel it and it hurts. That's what it feels like to sit down. So every time we went over a bump or we just were driving, it really hurt. And so I was exhausted. So yeah, that's what's going on. My sister's gonna stay with me for at least a week. And even then, she told me that she packed for 3 weeks just to help me out with things around the house with Eloise, and just so then we'll get through that doctor's appointment and know which direction this should go. So yeah, just at this point, I'm still just kind of feeling numb emotionally. Like, I feel like I've done all the crying that I can do. And I really don't want to get my hopes up to have them broken. But at the same time, I don't want to live in fear. I want to trust that God has a plan, and that if I do miscarry, that something wasn't right, and I want a healthy baby. I want a strong baby. And so it's just kind of what I've been processing. Yeah, so that's what's been going on. I'll try to keep you posted. I probably won't be recording as much right now just because it's kind of boring just sitting on the couch all the time. And everybody's basically quarantined right now. Like, there's nothing to do outside. So of all the times to be, like, I'm not supposed to travel. My doctor said don't travel anywhere, don't go anywhere. So my family's talking about coming to see us over spring break because our vacation got canceled. Awesome. so they're talking about coming here and just spending the time here so they can help out and we can all still be together and play games and stuff. But yeah, of all the times to be going through this and to be stuck on bed rest and not supposed to be traveling and not supposed to be lifting anything, it's not like everybody else is still out having fun and having get-togethers and all that. Everybody's kind of stuck inside, so anyways, yeah, I don't even know how to end it. That's what's happening. Just pray for peace and that this baby's healthy and strong and safe. Bye guys.